Guys, I'm getting a lot of requests, a lot of questions, a lot of fear, a lot of worry. Hey, how am I going to buy Bitcoin? Should I wait? Should I wait till it gets to 84 again? What should I do? And my answer is you should do what you plan to do, whether that was 6 months ago or 6 years ago. Stick to the plan. Now, if something has changed in your plan that would make everything different, then perhaps you review it. But I would encourage you to go back, look at the plan that you established. The one that I established was I am going to own this many Bitcoin within this time frame. It didn't say I was going to own 1,000 Bitcoin at the cheapest price possible. It said I wanted to own X number of Bitcoin, whatever that volume is. And somewhere, if you're not executing on your strategy, or you feel like you've been bounced out of the market, or you're too late, or you made some mistakes, or you can't afford to put $800 into Bitcoin. By the way, $800 into Bitcoin is $800 into Bitcoin, $800 into your house, or $800 into XRP is $800 investment. It's not different. One of them has extremely low risk and monster amounts of upside, and the other two, have lots of other little bells and whistles to them, most of which I don't think are bells and whistles, but creaks and crannies and shit that's going to cost you money over time. So what are you doing at 103? Look, if you've never bought Bitcoin and you got $10,000, I smash buy Bitcoin right here at 103. So your cost of entry, I didn't make you wait this late. You could have bought it at 72. You could have bought it at 68. You could have bought it at 65. You could have bought it at 57, 52, 48, 42, 38, 36, 34, 32, 27, all the way down to 16. And you listened to too many people, and you must have gotten off your first principle core understanding why you would want to have access to an asset class like this. Look, don't get me wrong. When I first started buying Bitcoin, my first purchase was $8,000 of Bitcoin. I thought that was outrageous considering other people had bought it for $800. You have to remove your understanding of price here, okay? Most people cannot really appreciate what $103,000 for Bitcoin really means. I tend to look at it this way. I remove the price of the Bitcoin and I look at the size of the industry, and the industry is roughly now at 103,000, 21 million Bitcoin. I multiply the 21 million Bitcoin times the 103 roughly, and I get 2 point some odd trillion. No 1 trillion, not much less than 2 trillion, no $1 trillion industry has ever not survived. Okay, let me say that again. No industry that has ever met critical mass of $1 trillion in size. I would maintain that, in fact, the Bitcoin industry is much bigger than 1 trillion when you start taking into account MicroStrategy, Coinbase, Meta Planet, and all these other players that are coming to the game. And the dominance on Bitcoin is much higher than people actually appreciate because of what's in the basket or the buckets of dominance. See, let's just speak into dominance. If you could invest in a king and a kingship, or you could invest in a little village 300 miles at the very end of the king's property line, which would you do? You can invest in the king. It's going to cost you probably, 100,000 versus, call it 1,000x. You pay 1,000x for the king's location. And by the way, this king, he's only 16. He unless he's assassinated, he can't be assassinated. He's immutable. So he's 16-year-old king, and you're going to go invest in some little prince bastard, a bastard of Bitcoins, operating right off the shadowy, operating in the shadows of the king, the 16-year-old king who's taking over the world. And you're going to go do a trade for potatoes on a farm that can get taken over tomorrow morning by anyone or anything. I don't get it. Okay, I know I have some really stupid analogies. I like to keep it bloody simple. I'm investing in King Kong. I'm not investing in a little monkey, an ape, or a gorilla. I am investing in the apex freaking predator, okay? The apex asset. And there is only one. There is only one Bitcoin. There are many copies of many other things, but there is one Bitcoin. It is the only Bitcoin that is it is the only token that is a $2 trillion market cap, capable of, by the way, being the check box, like it'll get a green check box every time a pension, a government, or a treasury of any size looks at Bitcoin. It will never get thrown out as an opportunity because the market cap wasn't big enough, unlike many of these other, shall we say, plastic coins, tokens. All right, guys, look, you have to be disciplined. You're doing something for the legacy of your family. You guys listen to British Hodl, okay? Listen, you have the ability to change the trajectory of your entire bloodline, man. I mean, that is fact, okay? That is a fact. My brother and I will be the first people in the history of Sicilians and Italians that have been coming together, that ended up making us, they've been coming together for decades and decades and decades. In fact, a century. First time in a century, my family has been able to pop out of middle class and become relevant on the world stage, relevant in order to actually help facilitate change. So I think that's very awesome. All of you have that opportunity. I came into this space 4 years ago, okay? I'm a newbie. So people are starting to go, oh, you've been around a long time. No, I have not been around a long time. You can do this very, very quickly. That's the cool thing. You guys be strong, be safe. Make sure that you have looked at every investment you have made so far, whether it's in school, education, cars, homes, girlfriends, boyfriends, other investments. Don't let anybody in the legacy world tell you that Bitcoin's volatile. United Healthcare, a $600 billion company, lost 55% of its value in less than 30 days this month. Okay, that's volatility. That doesn't get recovered for years. They're under federal investigation. There's no federal DOJ investigation into Bitcoin ever. Will never happen. I mean, look, you have to impute that into a $103,000 price or $2 trillion market cap. There's no DOJ exposure, you crazy fool. There's no SEC exposure. There's no FTC exposure. No CIA, no DI. No one can take this shit away from you if you do it properly. Maybe there's 30 billionaires in Bitcoin today. Maybe. I can only find 16. Average billionaire is worth 5.4 billion. You guys are worried about nation states? I would be worried about 3,500 billionaires that are worth 5.4 billion as an average. Do you know what it takes for them to smash 1,000 Bitcoin? Nothing, okay? 1,000 Bitcoin is $104 million today. The guy's got 5.4 billion. Do the math, okay? Get on a little napkin. Imagine some guy having a drink in a bar on Saturday night and his advisor, his buddy says, bro, you got $5 billion. Why don't you smash 100 million into Bitcoin, buy 1,000 Bitcoin? If it's wrong, nothing happens to you. And if we're right, damn, dude, you could make another billion or $2 billion. Ricardo Salinas, 70% of his net worth, gold, Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy. Gold, Bitcoin, MicroStrategy. Superstar. He is my superstar of the month. Ricardo Salinas. I would give Trumpet, but we're talking about Bitcoin right here. Ricardo Salinas, third richest man in Mexico. I think you are a superstar. I'm congratulating you for being a freaking monster. And if you guys do not know who he is, you should read a book on this cat. He is a absolute baller. Donald Trump, thank you for all the work you're doing. The job you did this week, sir, I salute you, okay? The job you did, I am proud to have given you 12.8 Bitcoin. Seriously. I mean, I have never looked back at that. I didn't like the way you guys turned it into cash immediately, but I am so proud to have been a part of getting you elected, sir. What you did yesterday, $3 trillion in deals, got every government on the planet. All these people just want to go to work and they want to produce. They don't want to go to war. It's us and the Jews that have been wanting to go to war. So let's clean our shit up, man. Let's make this the next 20 or 30 years, the best 20 or 30 years this planet's ever seen. See you guys later. I think it's awesome.